Do you want me to get you something?
No. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm here with Brian Trom, who's off camera right now. We're going to try a different setup. Like I said, this is an experiment and it's a pilot project. So, trying to get a feel for what works and what works less so. Doing the interviews, the side by side, that's the classic way to do it. And we tried that. I would like to also try where we're having a conversation where we're sitting together. At this point, we are uh, a little bit tech challenged. It's not it's the idea of imperfect action because that's what we're that's what we're selling over here at the entrepreneurial hotline. Take imperfect action, follow your dream, try to do what you need to do so that you can be happy. I'm multitasking because I have to. So give me a second. I'm going to put it on back in a second and we're going to tilt the screen and Brian and I are just going to finish up with the pizza and just talk about entrepreneurship and things. You know what I mean? So give me 2 seconds. See, my fucking head just looks so crazy. Yes, he's there. It's not a spooky thing. The thing is that my PC is running out. So let me check to see what I can do here before it does go out. That's going to be crazy. All right. Check. Da 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 da. If you have any questions, I'm going to put it here and then you can follow me. Mic is going off. I'm still here and I'm testing this out. So I, Brian's gonna go and see about getting some Gluck. And this is just a public service announcement that Gluck is what you drink this time of year when you live in the Scandinavian countries, specifically Denmark. And they have a delicious apple Gluck. Gluck is, well, it's a mulled wine. So Glühwein, I think they call it in Germany. And so it's also something that they drink there. But I'm a fan of the Gluck, and I think it's a little celebrating ahead of time because there's still, uh, yeah, there's still a whole, not a whole day, but half a day tomorrow, and then there's a lot of processing. There's a lot of work behind the scenes to edit the content, to curate the content, to align everything so that we can, you know, uh, offer you an opportunity to digest this information in a easier way, and that's going to be through an ability to see the videos, the replays, audio, and transcriptions, and some visuals and some little worksheet things. So that's a different way to be able to look at it all at once, because we've been streaming it throughout, and some of some of the gems are going to be mixed up in stream of consciousness talks, especially with the segments where I have been involved at length, and during the night hours, the night watch especially, or when Gail's been doing the live monitoring. There's some gaps there in terms of there's not content being pushed out because that wasn't the intent. The intent is also to give you some space to think about what you're listening to, and to also give you some space to have your own voice heard, or to ask questions if you'd like, to get an opportunity to get some coaching, or to get some audit, have us uh, audit your website. I don't know, where we are open. You have a little less than 24 hours to take advantage of that, but we're open to seeing how you would like to use the platform, and hearing how you felt it was valuable. So undoubtedly, there's a questionnaire coming your way. We're going to be posting it out, and that's going to be, yeah, maybe after I catch up on my sleep, but it's going to be coming up before it gets too holiday crazy, and while the content is still fresh and in your mind. So that is part of what's coming down the pike. Today we uh, Colin spoke with Brad, and he was talking about music, how he was marketing. He was talking about marketing, and I caught the part where he was talking about how he was promoting musicians at one point. And Gail was talking to Ross about live streaming and equipment, and I was speaking to Brian Traum about the state of the ego. He was telling us about his story, and about how sustainability, the role that sustainability and environmental responsibility has played in his life, and how it's influenced him creating his business, and talking about ways that you could look at a business or a product or service anyway, and how you can, how it, he was giving a call to action that when you're thinking of how you improve things, then to think about layering that element of sustainability on there. So your product might be great, but if it's taking resources beyond what it is entitled to, then it's not good. And if it's undercutting the people who supply it, then it's not good. And there's an opportunity for growth. And just because you have gotten used to a certain level of of maybe complacency around it because it wasn't something that was an issue when you got started in your business. If you're, if you're working in the building industry, you're an architect, you're a designer who is, working in in the field of, interiors. If you are working in basically in the industry, there's no way around it. You can always look at a way to improve incrementally or specifically. Thank you so much. So here is my Glick. My apple Glick is here. And like I said, oh, this is nice.
It's organic.
It's organic, an organic drink for a conversation about organics things. So that is what we've been talking about today, and some of the things that I was telling you, kind of highlighting that I thought was important, and what could be good things for you to start using or to be inspired by. The other thing is, you don't have to start a business. You could use that entrepreneurial spirit of yours to figure out how to help your your place of spiritual practice, your children's school, uh you know uh, organizations, or places that are aiming to help. You could go to help people who are trying to transition back into society after having had a hard, maybe being incarcerated. You could be helping the homeless. You could be helping people who are disenfranchised in general. And you can use those, the entrepreneurial spirit. Use your powers for good, people. That's what I say. So how would you do that? Ask, reach out, think about what you want to do. A conversation that's been reoccurring throughout the entrepreneur hotline has been about clarity, about what you want your life to mean, and how do you pursue that purpose, and where you want to go is possible. You just have to decide that that's where you want to go, and you have to decide that you're willing to do the work. You're willing to go through it, because it will not be easy. That's the one thing. I played that video by Mark LaRouste on what they don't tell you about entrepreneurs from the TEDx Cardiff. And it was a joke when he was doing he started off and he was making a joke about do you know, I'm sitting on the beach and I'm here and it's so easy. And that's the story that you get often right now. The popular story about entrepreneurship is largely fragmented. It's largely just a little tiny piece of it for a niche group that does that. Now I'm all about, working, in location independence, and taking your expertise and being able to make a livelihood out of that. And we can go into that conversation at another time. But most entrepreneurs are in the trenches and doing the work. You can't see Brian. He's not on camera now, but he's back. Come on in. So here we are.
Everyone.
Hi, everyone. We're here, obviously. Isn't that strange? It's like when Brian called me today and said, hi, Lori. And I said, hi, Brian, it's Lori. So yes, we will be sitting in a way that we normally would not sit, so that it works on camera. And that's something to consider. So they were talking about camera technique earlier. And while this is not the most ideal setup, it works. It's working, right? You're getting it. You're seeing it. We're here enjoying our drinks. Let's go.
Cheers.
Mm.
This
Whoa.
is organic also. Local Danish brewery.
Organic. Local Danish apples. And lots of alcohol.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really good. Now, this, as an example, was, go with me for a minute. is what I think is interesting also, Brian, is you actually mentioned that you went to Malmö for the Eco
Fair.
fair, right?
Expo.
And one of the things that I found, I was at Bite Copenhagen, so also a food fair, but not specifically organic. But what's happening is that right now in Scandinavia, drinks are blowing up. Scandinavian drink brands are growing
Yeah.
in leaps and bounds, and many of them organic.
Also, yeah, pre-mixed, like drinks in a bottle.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I've noticed that.
And I mean, that must be both wonderful and frustrating because you have only so much space. You have great products, but so much space. But what do you have any favorites? Have you been?
Of these
Are you in the space?
organic drinks?
Mhm. Or other
Um,
products that you think are really cool that are coming out? That could be a fun thing.
Well, I actually haven't tried them. I've seen them, but I haven't tried them. And one of the things that we like to do is try things before we bring them in.
Of
So,
course.
I look forward to this is like the best part of my job. Like, so we have this selection of fine organic chocolates.
I've been there.
It's just so terrible when I have to go and see if I can find some new chocolates for the shop and I have to eat all of these chocolates. Well, actually, what's terrible is having to eat bad chocolates
Yeah.
to find out that they're not good enough. But the joy of having to try some of these things,
Yes.
you know,
I have benefited.
it's one of the fun parts of the job. But I mean, we don't have a lot of food, so
Mhm.
so I look forward to trying them and seeing if um, they're good and maybe something for the shop. It's nice that they're organic, but until now I've been focusing on sort of the raw ingredients. So having like a nice organic gin,
Mhm.
a nice organic rum, um, that you can either, especially the gin mix, but also like the rum and joy alone. So I haven't gone into a lot of the alcohol yet, the drinks.
Yes,
So.
but I actually didn't mean just alcohol.
Okay.
I meant just in general, like kombucha. Well, kombucha, sparkling
Yeah.
kombucha, Copenhagen kombucha, for example, here in
Yeah.
Copenhagen. Sprout, which is pea milk.
Yeah.
Sprouted pea milk. But that's like kombucha. The argument is it organic? Is it not organic when it's made? Depending on how it's made.
But you can get them certified organic. You
Right.
can get the kombucha drinks certified organic, and then it's about a matter of how you're growing the kombucha, because you're making it in this sort of tea liquid, and it's sort of you're creating this environment, and you can make that organic.
Right.
So the mushroom grows itself, but you're creating the organic environment for it to grow in. And then if you're adding flavors, they're organic also. We found this one really nice local Danish producer of like teas and lemonades, like juice drinks.
Yes.
But they also make brewed drinks and like oak aged lemonades, I think it was. And we were tasting all these great things. So I think that's where we're probably going to go.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, there's.
And I really feel bad that I can't remember the name.
I think.
Also, I mean, it's not about plugging it, but I mean, I would like to say what it is, but I have the information at home, and we pretty much decided we're going to order that.
Okay.
And it was exciting. It was different. It was delicious. Taste combinations, all of local, organic or wild harvested ingredients, and it was just really nice.
Yeah, I think that well, it makes sense. Food and sustainable food in Copenhagen is like that's the evolution that over the years Copenhagen has become a food mecca of sorts. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean we have a lot of top rated restaurants that have, I mean, in Copenhagen, innovative restaurants, but also like it's become much more of a diverse food culture.
Yes.
For many years, it really wasn't, coming from the States, you might agree.
Yeah.
Back when I came and maybe you were here before I was, but
Mhm.
you get hit with a little bit of a wall because the States is just diversity. And then coming like 20 plus years ago,
Yes.
there was not that diversity
There were-
in Denmark yet. And now it's an explosion, and it's great to experience. Um, I and Denmark is an expensive place to live.
Mm.
You earn more and you pay more. So going out is expensive compared to like the States.
Mm.
But I think that you're seeing more. That being said, you're seeing more down to earth innovation also food wise. Restaurants popping up that
Mhm.
are more in Danish, I would say folkly,
Yes.
because a lot of the top restaurants, I mean, we're talking Michelin restaurants, you know, Alchemy and Noma and
Yes.
these that most people
Are
are not going to go there because they just can't afford it.
Mm.
So I think that what we're seeing now is there has been this focus on, yeah, I mean, it's like Danish design. It's beautiful and classic and innovative at the same time, and for a special market for the most part. And then when you see it filtered down, so see,
Yeah.
this is the ego again, like wanting to make it for everyone.
Mhm.
I love when good things, quality things, and well designed things
Mhm.
break that barrier of becoming
Yes.
something for everyone,
And
and without losing the quality. You need
Yeah.
still need the quality and the design and everything. So
well, I think
I think that
it's greatly connected to. I know that years ago we talked about this, but I actually played the video again today, and that was Ron Finley, the gangster gardener, and he's in South Central LA, and he took the municipal lot and planted
yeah,
fruit because he lived in a food desert. And I think this idea, it's almost absurd when you think about it. Like everybody needs food. We all need food. And for a long period of time, in fact, that we have a group of people who have access to food from all over the world. And you have a group of people, large groups of people in different parts of the world.
we're in the home of this community, looking out the window, watching huge balls of hail like
Sorry.
fall
Yes.
down
Mhm.
on their maize field
Oh, okay,
outside
yeah.
their house. And we're watching it, and it was the most intense and amazing hailstorm I've ever seen. And everyone in the family was just totally quiet, looking out the window. And I talked to the husband who I was standing next to, and I was like, you know, is this? I mean, it's a bad storm, but what's going to happen?
Right.
And he said, the problem wasn't this storm. The problem was it was the second storm like this. And the first one totally devastated their corn harvest, but it was early enough that they could plant again. But if this one devastated the plants, it was too late to grow anything, and then they would have no corn for that year.
Yeah.
And that just totally hit me hard because, you know, I'm there amazed by this, act of nature that I've never seen before. And they were,
Yeah, you're looking at it. Cool, fascinating.
Yeah, and they're like solemn and hoping that it just doesn't destroy their entire crop for the entire year because there's no third planting.
Right.
And luckily it didn't. It didn't last long enough to destroy, and it was good. But that moment, I mean, it's access to food, but also a lot of people live in the world and they don't have a stability in their livelihood that makes them immune to small changes, and little things can just throw it totally off. So we're, and how did we get here?
No, well, actually, I was going to bring it back, but the idea that what was just spoken about, that we're talking life, we're talking about
Yeah,
your
yeah.
experience, but the fact of the matter is that's exactly what entrepreneurship is. So in that situation, I mean, with my entrepreneurial brain anyway, then you're thinking, okay, when if these are things that can happen, then what are the solutions? What could we do so that if the hailstorms in South
Yeah.
Africa are happening like that, how do we protect the corn?
Yeah.
How can we, I wouldn't want to mess with the corn, like, because grow crops that were more
No,
resistant, but then you're getting into
but
some strange
this
things.
is the kind of work that like we were focusing on, and people who I know are doing development work are focusing on when you're talking about sustainable development or responsible development, that these are the kinds of solutions we need.
Mm-hmm.
In the same community, there was a farmer who had a community garden. There was an official community garden
mm-hmm.
set up by a development agency. Mm-hmm. No, thanks. And then there was this other farmer's community garden. Mm-hmm. And it was controversial because he says, if you want to grow in my garden, you're not using these chemicals that you can use in the other garden. You have to grow organically. He took a tomato and said, and we're talking about food stability and livelihood stability. He took a bite of this tomato. He said, see these seeds? I can plant these seeds and get tomatoes next year. Over there, they want you to grow the seeds they came with from the agency and use the chemicals that they gave you from the agency. And then next year you have to buy more seeds so you can grow. And people don't like that because they want, let me do it how I want. No, if you want to grow on this piece of land that I have right here, anyone can grow there, but you have to grow these organic things. I was like, wow. And this was his way of having economic stability. He doesn't have to buy seeds. He can grow his seeds.
Right.
And so that is, innovation right there, where it's critical in a way. I love these people who are growing their lawns for food.
Yes,
converting grass lawns for food.
Oh, that's very that Ron Finley thing, right? That's I think there's a reason why it was among the most popular TED Talks.
Yeah.
And I think it for people who don't even live in food deserts. I was talking about it earlier and mentioning just the idea like that we've gotten so far away from in our generation, that because so many people live in the cities and we got so seduced and so excited about, outside, like it became not as cool. It wasn't as cool, like to eat homemade stuff. I mean, homemade stuff is
Now it's
always
slow.
good. Yeah, slow cooking is basically, the food that we ate in the 60s and the 70s. Oh no, the 70s. That's where the microwave dinners and stuff started to come in.
Oh yeah, well, also the what do they call them? The TV dinners.
TV dinners. That's what I meant.
Pop in the oven with the little.
I meant it was before the microwave dinners, and I think that somebody does a talk about it, and it's really really interesting, especially if you are entrepreneurs of a certain age or just anybody of a certain age, and this idea that sometimes let's just say it straight out. All innovation is not good, right? Sometimes we do things and it's great that we have the capacity to do them. TV dinners made sense for mothers who needed to work and were trying to work out something for their kids and their family. It made sense up to a point, but much like the internet running away and getting much bigger than we thought, that was not supposed to be dinner all the time.
Right.
That was when mom was working that day, not 3 times a day, every day. Okay, go and microwave your breakfast and microwave your lunch and all of these things. So I may have to go home for Brian's. Hi, for
osmosis.
yeah. I'm in the middle of a conversation you've probably been listening to. That was not really for you, but that's okay. We were experiencing technical difficulty with a mic on, so it was open. I'm finishing my cookie and calling it, Brian's trying to give him the Prosecco. Thank you.
You are welcome.
In a half hour, Rasmus is coming on. But the point of this kind of
we're talking, I think, in a way,
conversation,
resilience.
Cool.
Well,
Scott.
This idea of resilience, sometimes we act on our entrepreneurial instincts because we need to be resilient. We need to be able to survive in diverse situations.
Yes.
I know you
have a little thinking about that. Yes. Yeah. Yes, because entrepreneurship comes from soul, and you'll have to see one of the other episodes to know what that's about.
So I love seeing when it's applied in new ways. I mean, for me, again, this is the eco nerd talking. I'm very inspired by permaculture.
Yes.
And permaculture as a way of thinking and designing projects. Even a lot of people think it's just about farming, but it's also about communities and bigger projects. And again, and this is a big part of this transition movement that we're a part of. I mean, this is one of the big things in the eco movement, is this transition away from fossil fuels, et cetera, et cetera. So, and it's really about resilience. How can we create ways to better our lives in a responsible way in a changing world?
Yes.
And in a world that's changing in very specific ways. And so this provides this great opportunity for new thinking, innovative thinking, business ideas, business opportunities. It's like there for the picking right now, I think.
Yes.
And all about resilience.
Yes.
In a new way.
Yeah. I think this it's a very exciting time because of the technology, because of the internet interconnectedness that comes from the technology, but also the consciousness, the zeitgeist that's happening right now, in part because of the technology, that people are more, and this is something that you said actually earlier, like, we're also kind of living in our own microcosms. I'm paraphrasing, but basically that's it, right? I see what I basically want to see in my feed on Facebook. I don't see everything. We have to be aware that we don't really have an objective view of anything anymore, because the bots know what you like, and then they keep serving it up for you. Excuse me.
That's why we need more time in the real world, so we can ourselves see what's really happening and
experience the diversity.
Experience the world and interpret it ourselves.
Yeah.
Based on our experience.
Exactly.
And spend more time in nature. And spend more time in nature. Yes. Because
absolutely.
You don't want to protect it if you don't know what it is. And
that's so interpretive. Right. I mean, but you also have a background in interpretation.
Yes.
Because what is it? We only protect the things we love.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have no understanding of it, that's the other thing. Let's bringing in education. Even if kids don't understand where food comes from, if they don't make the connection, we have had the discussion. I like to take pictures of the animals at the zoo and have mixed feelings about the point that the animals are in the zoo. But when there is a good zoo, that's good, as good as a zoo can be, because if you are, against having animals in that, like being contained, they're in jail kind of. So when I express it like that, it sounds horrible, but they could be also being protected. And in many cases in the Copenhagen Zoo, it's one of the better zoos in terms of the programs that they're doing. And more specifically, this is to illustrate how somebody like me, who used to be afraid of a lot of animals and who was not like Miss Let's go and let's be in the nature and let's be out in the, and like being interested in in animal welfare in that way. You're a vegetarian, correct? And I said that like I don't know who you are. I know he's vegetarian. I was just trying to bring it up. Yes, so he's vegetarian, and
You're from the States, right?
Yeah, you know his story, right? But this idea that some of the conversations we've had, because even my wanting to be sensitive to the fact that you are vegetarian, so when we are out and we've said like, oh, let's have a meeting over lunch, and then if hey, can I order that because I don't want you to be offended that I have dead animal on my pizza or something like that.
I'm not usually that judgmental.
I know you're not, but there are those. I mean, I don't mean now it's 12 years, but back in the day, you
I mean, and it's nice to, in general, be considerate of each other and think about other people also. And
that people see things in a different way.
And I mean, that being said, my position should also be that I be flexible of you where you are in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
but if you see people doing harm though, and depending on how you feel, thing. Right? And so
harm is a terrible thing.
And that brings us back to the zoo. There are those people who I meet who are adamant about zoos are bad. But here's where the story has a little bit of a twist. I think anybody who knows me would say I am probably among the top advocates for animals because of the fact that I've been going to the zoo and taking pictures, and that has made me think more, in part, and also because of people like you and learning more about sustainability. But that has been part of the trigger for me because I go there, I have a connection to these animals. I start to wonder about why they're there. Some of them, why are they there? Do they have to be there? And I start considering, do they have enough space? So it has made me an advocate. And I think I'm just like anybody out there. Things happen and then they trigger you and suddenly you become an advocate for them. Or you decide it could be helping the handicapable, it can be eco activism, it can be environmental activism, it can be anything. And that's for you to find out in yourself what matters. But I think the key here is don't let yourself be impassioned about something and then not act on it and not do anything about it. Like not just be, oh, okay, yeah, I wish if I had more time, I'd do more for the kids. I'd do more for the children, or I'd do more for the environment, or I'd do more for the animals, or what have you. Whatever your thing is, that's because ultimately it's a life thing, right?
I mean, it is. It's a great life philosophy. I mean, a lot of times the first thought we get in our head, you're walking down the street, you get a thought, I should help that person. Mm-hmm. And you keep walking because you're busy.
Yes.
Maybe you need to act on that first thought. Sometimes it's the right thing.
Yeah.
I think I have this dream of doing this with my life, but I can't, it's not right now. I'm doing this maybe see if there's a possibility to do that, fulfill those dreams, act on your responsible impulses.
Yeah. Within reason, people. Come on, within reason. Yeah. Right.
But I mean, and fulfill your dreams.
Yes. And
be the person you want to be. Be the person you want to be.
Yes. And see, like the thing is, understand that it doesn't happen overnight. Right?
I'm still working on it.
Yeah, I think that's my tagline on Facebook, work in progress. It says work in progress. Now, what we're going to do right now is cut out because Rasmus is coming on at 10 and my phone is dead. So Rasmus, if you are paying attention, I am aiming to get that link to you ASAP. We're going to put this on hold.
Okay.
And thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everyone.
I appreciate you being here. And we're going to, if I can get over here and see this. And Brian also is a little bit of a techie too, so maybe he can help me with my bad screen resolution.
Oh, you praise me with.
You sounded very like Yoda or somebody like that. Star Warian.
Beyond my capabilities.
Yes. And come on. Feeling like I can't see. See this? Can you see?
Can I see
Is
what?
it not moving? Right? It's not moving. Yeah. It's because can you see that the screen is not right? The colors are wrong.
In what way?
It's very faded. The light is off. Like it's hard. I can't see I can barely see over here. Like for
Oh,
example,
okay.
right now I can't see anything because nothing's there.
Right.
But just in case you were wondering, yes.
Then it's
Just say
probably good you're not seeing things if
yes.
nothing's there.
There
If
you
you
go.
were seeing things and nothing's there.
Yes. Again,
Okay.
we were having the discussion all that time while you were listening to us apparently about the problem with the screen. And in just a few minutes, Rasmus Holm is set to come on, and Brian and I are here talking. Brian,
I might go.
in the next few minutes, maybe we'll talk a little bit about this. We had the conversation on Earth Day. We were talking about, things that were powerful and meaningful to us. And Earth Day is about to be 50.
Yeah, that's big news.
And what do you think, entrepreneurs, how can Earth Day be a stimulus for creating more green businesses? It's kind of a leading question. But
I think that everybody should make an Earth Day T-shirt and sell it. I'm just kidding.
Organic
I'm kidding.
cotton.
I'm kidding. I think what
Organic cotton T-shirt. Reuse your T-shirts and just get a potato and some beet juice and make T-shirts. Organic beets.
Lord. Seriously, I think that what we need to do is look at the spirit of Earth Day.
Yes.
And what it's about, because there's a slogan that goes around, just like, well, it goes around. I share it a lot. Celebrate Earth Day today, act like it's Earth Day every day.
Yes.
So what is the idea of Earth Day? Sometimes people say you can't solve a problem by this one day celebration. No, the idea is not to solve the problems on Earth Day, but let Earth Day be an inspiration to
Visibility.
take something with you to put into your life every day.
Yes.
So let entrepreneurs think, here's a day that focuses on something so important, like the planet that sustains life so we can be here. And what it needs in order to keep sustaining life so we can be here. And it's a day where billions of people around the world get together and celebrate our planet.
Yes.
We're so lucky to be here.
Yes.
And so take that sort of spirit of the day and maybe inspire you to make a little change in your everyday.
Yes.
As a business person, as an entrepreneur, in your everyday life.
To honor it.
Yeah.
Even if you're not, if nothing else, you maybe do something isn't necessarily what the point is. Maybe not doing something is the point too.
Yeah, it could be not consuming or not
thinking about
turning on that switch.
Having a conversation. Right.
Talk about it. Yeah. Do a post about it. Yeah. Maybe you can do a post about the things you do. I mean, when I say post, it could be a video, it could be a blog, it could be whatever media you use. Mm-hmm. Do something about what you do. Do something about what you don't do. Do something about your frustrations in not knowing what to do.
And if you can't, something. Well, I was thinking also, if you can't, like if you feel like, oh, I can't do that, you undoubtedly follow somebody who does something, so you can show by promoting them. So you can say, oh, this person writes really, really well. I don't feel comfortable writing, so I will promote their post. So you don't have to actually spend the time doing it. You can also promote other people doing it.
Or save energy in server space. Turn off your computer and go sit under a tree.
Oh my goodness.
Or on the grass.
There you go.
or by the lake, or by the stream, or by the road, but get outside and stay disconnected. You could do that on Earth Day.
Yes, which is April 22nd, by the way.
Yes.
Yes. So on that note, I'm going to close this out. Goodbye. I'm going over to the room to meet with Rasmus, who will hopefully be there waiting for me. Thank you. And thank you, Brian, for joining me for this little section as well. Cheers.